Hey guys, I'm finally getting around to answering your Hajj questions. So I asked you guys to leave any questions that you have about the whole Hajj process on this video, and I'm going to answer as many as I can whilst the baby is napping. So this is a bit of a long question, so I'll put it on the screen. The first part of the question is, what company did you book Hajj with? So I went with my dad's Hajj and Umrah company from Birmingham. He's been taking Hajj and Umrah groups for the last 33 years. So it was a little bit easier for me because my dad is in this business, so yeah, we went with him. What zone and maktab was it? We were in Maktab A or Zone A, and it was a non-shifting package. It was 2 weeks in total. We went to Jeddah, and then from Jeddah we came straight to Makkah. We did our Umrah. Between our Umrah and our Hajj we had a few days, and then obviously Hajj started, and then straight after Hajj, actually like a day after Hajj, we went to Medina, and we were only in Medina for like 2 days, and then we came back to England. Approximately for the entire package it was about 9.5 grand. You ask about payments, did I pay in installments or when was the last date to pay? Because I went with my dad, it's very different to going with anyone else, so I haven't even fully paid him yet. He paid for me, and I'm paying him back in installments because it's my dad. Generally I don't really know how it works, to be honest with you. I'm assuming you'd be able to pay in installments, because I mean I'm sure they would allow that, but I can't tell you for sure, I'm sorry. The next question is asking about the Hajj operator. So we were Al Bayt guests, that's what it said everywhere. It also said Yasser Al Mashair, I think I'm pronouncing that right, I'll put it on the screen. So I'm not really sure which one is the Hajj operator, but yeah, I think it was one of those. So in regards to going on Hajj on a Pakistani passport, how does it work? So basically there's two ways of going to Hajj from the UK. The first way is to go via your British passport. So you would have to go through Nusuk, through the Nusuk app, which is very difficult. I've heard people's horror stories. I've heard people say how difficult it is. And it's basically like a lottery, because they have a certain amount of visas they're going to give to the British, but they have like millions of people trying to get onto the app and trying to apply, so it's crazy. And then the second way of doing it is going through another passport. So if you've got dual nationality, for example, I'm Pakistani, I didn't have a Pakistani passport prior to this, but both of my parents are Pakistani and have Pakistani passports, so I was able to apply for a Pakistani passport, and then I was able to go to Hajj through that passport. So we didn't actually have to go to Pakistan, which I actually thought we would have to do. No, so you just basically apply through the Pakistani passport. When you go to the airport, you're using your Pakistani passport instead of your British passport, and you go to Hajj, and then you come back, basically. So my experience with the whole Pakistani passport route, honestly it was difficult from the get-go, because if you guys live in Birmingham, you have been to the Pakistani embassy in Birmingham, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's actually very difficult. It's even difficult to get an appointment to make a Pakistani passport, and we actually had to make our Nadra cards first and then our Pakistani passports. If you've already got a Pakistani passport, it'll be much easier for you, but that was a whole experience, and I feel like that needed a whole video in itself because it was quite long. But once you've got your Pakistani passport and Nadra card, you can then go to any group leader and be like, I want to go to Hajj, but I want to use my Pakistani passport. It's much easier to get a visa that way, and then go from there. This person also asked about accommodation. So our accommodation, let me just tell you guys something. If you are planning to go for Hajj, you really need to be realistic with your expectations. Remember, you are not going on holiday. It's not going to be a 5-star all-inclusive resort. You're not going to Antalya, you're going on Hajj. So you have to bear in mind that the prices for the hotels during Hajj period are so inflated. I mean, everything is, even the flights during the Hajj period are so inflated compared to normally. So whenever I've been to Umrah, we always book 5-star. I always go with my dad, and it's fine, it's affordable. I mean, it's a little bit expensive, but it's affordable. However, for Hajj, booking 5-star, I probably have to pay double what I paid. 20 grand upwards. It is so expensive unless you get a 5-star hotel that is not close to the Haram. Because I knew some people who went to Hajj this year and they were in a 5-star, but they were like 30 minutes away from the Haram. They'd have to get on a bus to get to the Haram, and for me that was just too much. So we were actually in a 2-star hotel, but it was right next to the Haram. So what we would do is we were basically just able to walk to the mosque in a few minutes. What they've done is they've blocked some areas and some roads, obviously for crowd control purposes, because it's so busy during Hajj. So if those blockages were in place, we would probably be able to walk into the mosque in just a few minutes, but because of those, it used to take us about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how much foot traffic there was. It's more, there's so many people that you can't walk fast than anything else. But whilst we're on the topic, I do also want to say that if you don't think that you can go to Hajj, and how shall I word this? If you think you would go and you would complain about the hotel, you would complain about this, you would complain about that, you want it to be as easy and convenient as possible for you, then maybe you are not ready for Hajj. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but you need to have that mindset that Hajj is not supposed to be easy. Yes, they've tried to make it as convenient as they can. They've improved so much over the years, but people will still find a reason to complain. And you have to think that the people that went before us, you know, our ancestors, they performed Hajj. It was so difficult for them. They literally walked miles and miles and miles to get there. They had no accommodation. They would sleep anywhere. It was so difficult for them. My dad was telling us a story of someone that he'd heard of who they walked from, I think, India, and he goes that they obviously took them so long to get there, and they got into the ihram before that. They were in the ihram for months. We complain, or we find it difficult to be in ihram for a few days, but you really have to have that level of faith, that level of spirituality, and that level of understanding that Hajj is something else. It's not supposed to be like a 5-star holiday, and try not to complain, or try to complain as little as possible. This video is already getting so long and I barely answered any questions, but I'm going to do a part 2.